We'll see what the stream delay is. We'll try to let you know.
Nam slightly ahead on the stream delay for me.
Yeah, it looks like about 2.5 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, we'll keep that in mind as we move through this. So World 1, at this point, not too much to say about that. Most of the people watching here are probably pretty familiar with Worlds 1 and 2, but we'll still go into a little bit of detail as we go along for any folks who might just be tuning in. It's basically Warp City for Worlds 1 and 2.
Yeah, if you like the stages in these first 2 worlds, you might not enjoy this first part of the run too much. They're not going to be playing very much of any of these stages.
That's what 102 is for.
Ooh, Nam missing the wrong warp.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a pretty big time loss there. So what they're trying to do here is our first wrong warp of the game. And what it is we'll explain maybe in a little more detail later, but tricking the game into getting you an invisible object and then letting you exit the stage quickly. So Nam had to take the warp the normal way there, which means he lost all the time it took to go up and grab the beetle, which is pretty significant this early on.
Yeah, we'll see if it evens out at Crow, the major source of randomness in the run. Could easily tie back up there.
The big thing is, since that's so early, we're just going to have to see if it affects Nam's execution early on here in the first couple worlds. I know, in my experience in these tournament matches, I'm more nervous in like Worlds 1 and 2. Even just main brace there going for that wrong warp because it's so simple and you're so used to it, but it's just like a lot more pressure early in the race. So how he reacts to the pressure with those mistakes.
Well,
really
I was watching
seems to be pretty good.
earlier. I was watching Nam stream earlier, and he said he actually wasn't feeling the pressure because he strongly expects to lose. So he just wants to play the game.
Now, actually, that is how I felt when I was facing V0oid last week too. I'm probably more nervous for my race versus KBZ later tonight, but that's a story for another time. So looks like V0oid's at 1. Nam's got a couple. 2 fakes for V0oid, or was that 3? Kind of watching both.
I do think it was more than 2.
All right, and Nam's about done too. So, yeah, both guys with not great Crow times. Nam is 11 seconds behind according to their timers.
Right. Which is about what it was before going into Crow, funnily enough.
Well, at least he's fair. So 2-1 wrong warp or hothead wrong warp, pretty straightforward. Probably one of the easiest wrong warps in the game, but not one I'd really recommend learning because it's too early on because it's a pretty minor time save. But what they're doing here is a pretty important trick in this speed run called a team throw double jump or a big boy, which is a neat trick where if you team up, throw your Kong at an enemy and press B while the Kong is coming back towards you, you get kind of a boost. So it's used a few times in any percent, a lot more in 102 to get through some pretty significant parts of levels pretty quickly.
Right, if you're familiar with the concept of double jumping in other games, you'll pretty easily grasp what's going on. You can't naturally double jump in this game, so we kind of have to trick the game into letting us do it.
Yeah, we're seeing 4, maybe 5 fake eggs for these guys, so it's hard to count when you're watching them both, but chat's got our back. Ooh, V0oid with the bonk. That actually, at this point, I mean, that does give Nam a little bit of time to catch up. Again, every mistake in Worlds 1 and 2 is going to be so minor that in the big picture that it's as long as you don't have a major death a couple times in a row, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, but the further we get into winner's bracket, the more these mistakes start to add up.
Definitely. And Cleaver. Cleaver has a little bit of RNG as well, where the cannonball spawns can gain or lose a few seconds, but nothing to the degree of Crow. So that was about as bad as that can spawn for V0oid. It's possible for it to spawn right next to Cleaver, so you hit him while you're picking it up. We'll see if Nam almost gets that. But then it's just about movement, good throws, good hovers, and Lava Fly here is what V0oid's about to go for.
Yeah, lava fly is something that you're definitely not supposed to be able to do. You can see there's a very small window where you can land on the edge of the ledge and then jump out of it. And then he still does have to trigger Cleaver lunging at him in order to get the hooks to spawn.
Yep. So lava fly works because you only are going to fall off that ledge if you're pressing a direction on it. So by pressing B before you land and buffering the jump input and not holding a directional button, you'll get that jump. But it's tricky because you want to make sure hold the directional pad to make sure you're far enough over to actually land on the slope. So it's just something that takes time.
And both players thinking of the fans.
Flying Diddy. So
And still an 11-second lead for V0oid.
Nam made up some time on his PB though, so let's see. 41:39 maybe? But this is where the meat of the game starts. 3-1 is a pretty easy level, but it can kill you. Slightly mistimed jump will send Rambi straight into a pit, so it's not something you want to sleep on, but I wouldn't expect too much difficulty here. It's kind of a nice welcome to the game level, if you will. Some pretty simple movement, some pretty fun speed tricks. Ooh, V0oid getting left barrel there. That'll give Nam a chance to make up a few more seconds.
Yeah, the thing about the stage, especially in practicing for a tournament, is that this is not a stage that you generally think of practicing an IL for. So when you're thinking of ILs that you want to practice, you're thinking of Crockhead Clamor, you're thinking of Mudhole Marsh, you're thinking of Web Woods. You know, those stages that can really kill you. But if you sleep on this stage too much, a lot of things can go wrong, and we've seen that in the tournament before.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of deaths in this stage. And it always frustrates me because there's no real good reason to die in 3-1. It's easy enough. If you're paying a little bit of attention, you'll get there. But usually you're feeling a great sense of relief just to be out of World 2 to get through that without having to reset. So 3-1 basically feels like you're still in World 2 when it kills you.
And speaking of stages that I hate to practice, Glimmer's Galleon.
That's why I'm still bad at it, is I just don't want to spend time doing it.
So the problem with Glimmer's Galleon, there's this term in gaming called parasitic mechanics. And there are mechanics that only help you when they interact with each other. Swimming in Glimmers is one of them.
That's an amazing term. I've never heard that before. Please do elaborate.
Yeah, so the idea is, you know, I have a background in Magic, and that's why I know it. But there are very few other instances outside of Glimmers where you have to swim, and even fewer where you're concerned about the same things that you are in Glimmers. So by practicing Glimmers, you're getting better at Glimmers, and not necessarily the other stages in the game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It pretty much is only useful for itself. But both players having excellent runs through this stage.
Yeah, all of that said, you can lose a lot of time in Glimmers. You know, it's been talked about ad nauseum in other matches.
Neither one of them did, though. Both doing very, very well through that stage.
Ooh, Nam going for a little ghetto Kipple swap there, though, that he loves.
Oh, Nam.
Oh, Nam.
But now Crockhead Clamor is the first stage that starts to get really hard. The platforming here is really fun, but really difficult. Timing your rolls off of these crockheads is not an easy thing. Each one is a tiny bit different, and there's lots of places that can kill you, especially as we get towards the end of the stage, as V0oid's coming up on.
Yeah, anytime you see a player barely land on a crockhead, know that they just narrowly avoided death. Oh!
V0oid takes the death right there. That jump is the hardest in this stage, and that gives Nam a little bit of a lead. So hopefully he's not watching V0oid. I know he watched, so he takes it a little safer through there. He said he was going to do that in some of his races, but if he's watching, he's going to know that he's ahead now, and we'll see how he handles it.
I highly doubt that he's watching. Luckily,
he was watching against Eason. He said he.
Oh, really?
Might be now.
He said he was super nervous against Eason too, so that surprises me.
Yeah, Eason was a matchup for him that was very, very close. So I think it's one of those where you hope you win, you maybe even expect to win, but against V0oid, yeah, nobody expects to win. So to have a lead and then see how you handle it would be interesting. So Rattle Battle's a really fun stage. It's really frustrating too. it's something I hadn't really thought about much before I started talking in this tournament, was that the stage is easy if you're able to execute it the same time every time. If your jumps are always in the same place, you know where the enemies you're landing on are, you're doing fine. But the problem is Ratley's hitbox is very weird. I mean, sometimes you'll come into the side of an enemy and land on him. Other times you'll land on top and get hit. So if you get even slightly off of your normal routine, you can end up in a world of hurt.
There's something I was wondering. Does Ratley's hitbox change when he's coiled up versus when his hitbox expands while he jumps?
I don't know for sure, but I would not be surprised. I would expect the hitbox to be tied to the sprite, so I would think so.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking that if it's always like the small coiled up hitbox, that would explain a lot of the weird hits.
It would.
Because sometimes it feels like you know, you jump into the side of an enemy and you just kind of kill him anyway. Nam gets the slime climb arm work very cleanly.
Yep. So the reason this works is the super jump they pull off there causes the trigger that makes the water load at the bottom not spawn. So the water stays down. And since the water stays down, they're able to get this invisible object and go down and throw on top of the barrel, which would otherwise be covered by water. V0oid also no troubles.
Quick shot's another one of those parasitic mechanics I was talking about. Not too many other instances where it's useful, but you can bleed out a lot of time by not getting them.
Yeah, I think my current World 3 PB has a few mistakes on the quick shots. The worst thing about missing the quick shots is you end up missing more of them afterwards since your rhythm gets thrown off.
Yes, for sure. And the hardest trick in the game, Vine Clip, Namux misses it.
Ooh, let's see what kind of backup he does. And he goes for Dave Clip, and he gets it.
How that shootout out of the barrel after Dave Clip always scares me.
I'm terrible at Dave Clip. V0oid, however, is the most consistent Vine Clipper I've ever seen.
Insists that it's free every time.
When you're that consistent, it is.
And Nam has recently started going for the quick kill on Cudgel, right? Yes, he has.
Yeah, he didn't do it until maybe, I don't know when, but it is fairly recent. So V0oid has a lot more practice at this, which I was just saying yesterday. I don't really feel nervous anymore when I go for this, but it can lose you a lot of time if you drop any of the cycles.
Right. I think someone just finally explained to Nam how to do it by counting the up and down animation of Diddy while she's holding the barrel. And it's a pretty consistent setup.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, once you know it, you've got it pretty much forever. But before you master it, those little bits of nerves that you have and being not completely confident whether or not you'll get it is enough to throw off that count and then kill a run.
Yeah, other than that, not really much to say about this boss. He's long, he's boring.
Yeah,
it'll be over eventually.
Took me a while to learn it just because I didn't want to deal with it mostly. So keep in mind, we do think Nam's stream is a tiny bit ahead, so we'll have to look at their splits to see what's really going on here.
Right, about a little over 2 seconds ahead still on my end.
13:48.
They might have reversed this lead here. Not so much. So 13.
6 second lead for Nam. So I mean that's about as close as it can be. And V0oid can make up 6 seconds with just movement. So we'll see what happens.
Right. So we're on to the fourth world here. World 4 is very interesting in that it has a stage with really technical movement, then an auto scroller, then a stage with really technical movement, then an auto scroller, then a stage with really technical movement.
Yeah, World 4 is at the same time really fun and extremely nerve-wracking. I mean, I feel like a broken record in saying it. Every world in this game has its own problems that are really nerve-wracking, but World 4 might be the most so. Both guys getting scrolly scroll, no problem.
I like that you still call it the scrolly scroll. Never give in.
What? There's a new meme?
There's some argument over whether it should be called the honey slide.
Oh, forget that.
Agreed.
Scrolly scroll. See,
Not
I
with
don't
a
know the
small
memes.
mistake there.
I'm
Losing
not
about a
good at
second.
like.
Go ahead.
I'm not good at hanging out on the internet and learning the memes that you crazy kids are using these days.
Well, you have your own crazy kids to deal with, so it cuts into that time.
Yeah, so target terror. Nothing to see here. Move along. Move along.
And there's not nothing to see here. There's a small amount of tech. Basically, the thing to know about this stage is that it's an auto-scroller while you're in the cart, but when you're over a pit outside the cart, you do have the ability to control your speed. So there are some instances where the timing of your jump really matters. It can save, I don't know if it's more than a couple seconds, but it does add up.
Yeah, it does. Jumping, so you'll want to jump as early as possible to get onto the next cart. And then also, Nam just showed us there how you can jump over the dragonflies to get to do a skip. And each of those, there's 2 of those in the stage, saves a few tenths of a second. More people defending honey slide, keeping that debate alive in chat. You gotta, it's gotta be scrolly scroll, because later we've got rolly roll, and in 102 there's zippy zip.
I've started calling it the jungle slide because of 102.
Jungle slide? No, you're giving into the slide crew. What is this?
It's the slide that you do in Jungle Jink, so obviously it's the jungle slide, right?
Nam gets
Just
swag.
as much sense.
Let's see if Void goes for it. He
Void
doesn't. He doesn't always go for it. That's why he's the world record holder, ladies and gentlemen.
knows that it's strictly incorrect to go for it, so he doesn't.
Maybe I won't go for it in the next run. We'll see.
Don't blink, everybody.
This is it. This is the great equalizer. Anything can happen here. Nam with the kipples set up. No problem. That's really good. Nam has a tendency to miss that in races, so the fact that he didn't is awesome. All right, still ahead. Jungly jungle. All right, so little bits of time saves here. The most that they can really do is jumping down slopes save times in this level, but mostly they're just gonna go. I actually had a moment the other day where I got to the end of the stage and didn't remember doing the stage, so it's become that automatic for me.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this lately, where you just kind of zone out doing stages. It happened to me for the first time recently, and it was an experience.
This is the stage where I would always like read chat, which is a really bad idea. I mean, even though it's an auto scroller, it's pretty easy. You still have to actually watch the screen for the most part.
That is why we devoted the emote "Don't read chat" to this stage.
I still haven't added that to my channel. I need to do that. I know. See,
all
I
that
told
work
you, I'm
that
not
I made
up with
happen
the
with you
memes.
just going to waste.
I'm not up with the memes. Crazy kids.
Resident Dad. Alright, both of them out of the race. And going on once again to that very technical stage.
They're effectively tied at this point. So it's Void's subtle movement that he does better that catches him up to Nam. He's basically gonna, I think if Nam is to win this, he's gonna need another mistake or two from Void without any from himself.
Yeah, and this is the stage that I think sums up this game the best. Really technical movement, a lot of rolling, a lot of jumping, and a wrong warp at the end.
Yeah, it really is. It's a very complete stage. I think I heard Miyaki put it that way the other day, and I liked that.
Yeah, it's a good way.
It's pretty much got everything that makes this game the speedrun that it is, and it's very difficult. I'd put it at number 3 behind Toxic and Webwoods.
Yeah, everyone has their own different stage power rankings, it seems.
Yeah, same top 5 usually, though.
Right, just in different orders. And Void definitely gained a bit of time in this stage for sure.
Almost simultaneous mudhole wrong warps, amazing.
Yeah, I think considering the stream delay, they're virtually tied.
So honey jumping is the thing that could really save or lose time here.
Yeah, we saw our last race with Otter versus Kigo actually have a big turnaround.
Nam gets
Kigo's
the
honey...
waffle skip there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, honey jumping was the difference in the stage between Otter and Kigo for sure.
I can't believe that race. That's amazing.
And this looks harder than it is. You just have to know where to jump and you'll get through it pretty cleanly. There's a bit of tech at the very end where you do a charge cancel to jump into a barrel without jumping on another B. It takes a small amount of time. I'm sure we'll see both players go for it.
Yeah, I would expect that. It's Ramby jumps always look hard, but there's only, or impressive I should say, but there's only one of them in the game that's actually any difficult. So don't sleep on the king. I think V0oid is slightly ahead right now.
He is for sure. This is another stage like Rattle Battle where if it goes by the script, it's very easy. If not, you gotta know how to improvise. And I actually think that improvising might be Nam's biggest weakness as a player, just because he went in so hard with all the difficult strats so fast. Like you've played with him, he doesn't know a lot of the stuff that a casual player might know.
Definitely, yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't have as many runs under his belt to have made those mistakes and known how to recover from them. So again, he'll do very, very well as long as he's executing according to plan. But mistakes will be more costly for Nam than they will be for V0oid.
And tied on stream. It's very impressive. Was that a gold for
That
Nam?
is a gold for Nam. And
Wow.
V0oid is 2 seconds ahead. So Nam very much in range of his PB here. And now we'll see how they handle World 5. World 5 gives you a little bit of a reprieve here from the rigors of World 4. And then it gets really hard really fast after that.
Yeah, this is really awesome to watch though. Oh, Nam jumping on that cruncho.
That crunch is RNG.
Must be.
Canis said so.
Oh, well, that makes sense. If someone with a 40 says something, you have to believe them.
That's what my whole life policy is. That's why I want Nam to get a 40 so I can start believing him again.
Wow. Alright, so you can see the small differences in movement really adding up in this stage.
And again, the movement, they're doing the same rolls. They're doing the same jumps. V0oid's just doing them better. He's doing them sooner, and he's letting the rolls go for longer. So, I mean, we're talking differences in frames are adding up to seconds here. So this is probably the best auto-scroller in the game. It's always got something for you to do. It's part of why World 5 is fun, and that World 4's auto-scrollers are kind of tune out, just read chat, die a couple times because you're reading chat. But World 5's auto-scroller, every cliff you want to be jumping up. You want to jump down all big slopes, and then jumping to get the barrels or skip the barrels also will lose or save time too. So it's pretty interactive. The music's great. So this is kind of a nice intermission, I think, for the run. It's sort of a chance to catch your breath and hopefully not think too much about what's coming up next.
Yeah, there's not another chance to really do that for a while, so this is definitely a good chance to just kind of regain your mental focus while still not reading chat.
Yeah, I recommend you don't read chat ever.
Ever.
Little profit comes from that.
Both of them getting these kind of tricky jump over the Bs here. Not a huge deal, but can definitely bleed some time.
Yeah, getting hit, if you get hit on those Bs, which is definitely something that can happen, it just makes this last section a little more nerve-wracking. 1 or 2 missed barrels and you'll get hit and die, but it's pretty unlikely when you're seasoned, but it still is a thing that can happen.
Right, and you'll see them going into some minus barrels. That's because the players know which barrels are safe. to walk
Yeah.
into.
As I was mentioning earlier, you save frames by jumping up slopes. You also save frames by not jumping on flats. So they get only the barrels that are necessary to get through without getting hit. So again, Nam is suddenly behind just because Void's movement is that much better. I honestly have no idea how he does it. I watch it and I can't see where his time saves are coming from. He's just that precise in his rolls and jumps and monkey things.
Monkeying around.
Void opting for the mid barrel. Should I be offended? Because he didn't do that in his race against me.
I mean, he still might be feeling that death in Crockett Climber.
It's true. Yeah, he was rolling pretty good and rolling pretty deep in that race last week.
That's actually kind of what I was referring to back when I was talking about regaining your focus in Haunted Hall. Like, I think you cannot approach this series of 3 stages not knowing what you're going to do, including even really tiny things like grabbing halfway barrels.
Yep, I agree. Nocturne and D-Sky showed us last week just how bad Gusty Glade can be, but now Parrot Shoot Panic, which is probably the best stage to watch in a DKC2 speedrun. These guys do not take the purple Parrot, they just know what to do.
It's funny, when you show people who have never played this stage, they're just kind of like, is that what you're supposed to do? And then when you show people who've only played casually, they're like, what? How is that even possible?
Yeah, it's insane. I can't believe that I can do it, actually.
Oh, I was worried about that. Nam misses the headbutt. And that is not a death you want to see.
That was interesting that he didn't take the slow parrot. He knew that he needed to do something crazy to stick with Void. Valiant effort to hang with him that long, though. He's definitely going to need him. Losing that headbutt has taken many of our lives.
Yes, indeed.
Gets it on the second try, though. That headbutt, I'm still not entirely sure what causes it. I think it's got something to do with both your vertical speed and your horizontal position. Nam takes it a little safer on the way down to make sure he doesn't take that hit again.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Void go for these damage boosts through the bees. If you don't do it, it's just very, very slow, even though it's very safe. So there's lots of things that can go wrong. The first is just falling down. The second is getting hit before you need to do a damage boost. Getting hit by this cannon is actually pretty common. You saw he shot a web up, so you wouldn't have to worry about getting hit by that yellow bee, because you cannot kill these red bees, of course.
That's about as well as Webwoods can go. Void, I don't know how many times he lets go of right in that level, but it's not many. And that's why you do the damage boost in the instant platforms, is to basically just be able to hold right and Y pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, I think Tass only lets go of right twice, actually.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before too. That sounds right.
Void definitely does let go more. We know this because he's used input displays before, so some of his secrets have been revealed. We'll see what spawns these players get. This won't allow for a big catch-up, but this is probably the last major source of RNG in the run. You see Void, wow, getting the worst RNG and a pretty bad hit. Dixie is just much lower in the stage.
Dixie Ropes coming up, guys. Nam with a clean end to Webwoods as well. Dixie is slower, and Void should know how to handle it, but again, he's not used to it.
He takes it pretty safe. He definitely has done that before.
That was the right play. Something we haven't really talked about much here is Kong management, and Kong management is pretty much what makes. Oh, that's a big death. That's just because he had Dixie. He wasn't ready for that, so that's actually huge. We'll see what kind of RNG they get on this round, but when you're
actually a little ironic too, because he took that last section very safe,
and then he was kind of doing something he probably shouldn't have been. But yeah, this is left spawn for Nam too there, so that's not as much time made up as it could have been. But when you're using a Kong you're not used to, you can end up in a lot of trouble, as you saw there. Nam taking a hit. Oh, let's see if he has the same thing happen.
He's not taking this last section safe. This is what I was talking about. This is what you would normally do with Diddy. Yeah, you have to change the
Oh, yeah,
timing.
Nam drops the cycle there. And is he going to get hit by Crow? I don't know if he knows what to do here.
We'll see.
He didn't know Crow was coming back.
Wow. What a race.
That hurts. And Void pulls ahead. Probably gained a little bit of time there, actually, because Nam's death came a little bit later. Not much later, but a little bit. It's going to, again, depend on the spawns here. But yeah, so that happened because Nam took the hit with Dixie and he didn't know Crow moved through twice. Like when he did that hover there, after jumping over Crow the first time, I could tell he was not going to be ready for that second swoop. I say this because I've done that and died to Crow there so many times that...
Right, you would have expected him to move back further to the right to prep for the next dodge that he would have to make.
So that's like exactly what V0oid called earlier, is that inexperience with mistakes was the difference there. He gets up through the ropes really cleanly this last try, though.
Void took some damage with On Guard because of his terrible hitbox, but luckily did it right before DK Barrel.
I don't talk about the fish.
That's why I'm talking about it for you.
Thank you.
Didn't want to just ignore it while it was happening. You see him charge through this last section. Very little to worry about here. I always love watching that fish come down through the ice. Makes me laugh every time.
Yeah. So no, it is not over for Nam yet. There are still stages that can kill Void. Windy Well right here. Oh, Void re-enters Arctic. That sounds good.
What a nice guy.
That's really nice of him. Thanks, Void. But Windy Well is definitely a stage I've seen Void die in before. A lot of things can go wrong here. It's basically an auto-scroller, but with enough danger and skips along the way that you can mess them up and lose quite a bit of time. And then the gauntlet at the end, CLC, Toxic Tower, and Screech's Sprint are all able to kill even the best player.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the thing about dying in Windy Well is that it's just such a punishing death. This level is so much longer than you realize a lot of the time.
Yeah, it was another one that I really hated practicing just because it's kind of slow, but it's amazing how much time you can lose in it.
And it's another one of those stages like Parachute Panic where the level is vertical. So sometimes you die and then the death animation just takes a really long time. Yeah, we saw that with Nam's death earlier in PCP.
So we'll see if Void goes for the Ghetto B skip coming up here. I would expect him to go for it, but he's experienced enough to know when he is or isn't going to get it.
So something about high-level players like Void that I've noticed is that when you are so used to doing the high-level strat, sometimes doing the normal strat is actually more difficult because you don't have the muscle memory for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, muscle memory is everything in speedrunning. Once your body knows what to do, it's able to just do it. But and that's like why the Kong management is so important, is you lose muscle memory when you're using the wrong Kong, because even though to the untrained eye, Diddy and Dixie might move very similarly, they actually move very, very differently. Their speeds are different, their hitboxes are different, the distance they jump is different. So every little thing is thrown off when you're using a Kong you're not used to.
And nothing to see in Castle Crush here. We're gonna take this barrel to the top of the stage. It's the weighted companion barrel. There's no reason why we're keeping it. You know, we just do it because there's nothing really else to do in this stage, right?
My wife once just started playing on this when I went to go take a break or something, and she ended up in Castle Crush, and she was trying to grab the barrel just because she knew you needed to keep it from watching speed runs. She didn't keep the barrel. But I mean, all that said, that keeping the barrel is the hardest part of this level. It's the summon / warp / goal thing at the end here is looks really impressive, and if you've never seen it before, it just explodes your brain. But it's really, really easy to do. Twig has a great tutorial.
It is my favorite thing to show people who have never seen the speedrun before.
No problem from Void. Clapper's Cavern coming up. I really like watching Void do Clappers. He just moves through it so well. Clappers is a little bit like some of the earlier stages where it's a little bit of a break, a little bit of a chance to catch your breath. It's a nice thing to have right before that gauntlet.
Yeah, I definitely want to ask these players when we get them in here for interviews, like what their plans are for dealing with stages. You know, Num's PB is about it's over a minute slower actually. So I'm wondering if Nam was planning to go in a lot harder than he might normally, if Void was planning to do some safe strats.
Yeah, especially Void. I want to see how the death in Crackhead affected his psyche, if it made him take things a little differently, or if he's Void. I think would probably be someone who'd be watching to know what Nam's up to.
Possibly, yeah.
But
Two
here's
potential dirty screen watchers.
Dirty screen watchers. I will not be watching the screen during the KBZ race after this.
Right, so once again, do not blink on Void's side of the stream. All of this movement is very planned. See him jump.
Gets it. So Nam's chances are slowly slipping away with that.
Yeah, Toxic Tower is Void's favorite level, so...
And he is amazing at it.
Yeah, a death on Toxic Tower for Void is a tall order. It certainly can't happen. Neither of these players deciding to be gentlemen in Clapper's Cavern, unfortunately.
Yeah, what you're seeing here from Void is called Rattly double jumps. And there's a couple different ways to do them. There's a short hop version, which requires you to be holding the charge button, tapping jump, and then you can jump again. So it's a way of sort of charging while jumping. It's kind of neat. And there's another version called a true double jump, or even an omega double jump is the best version of it, where you press A and B at the same time, part of the way, or towards the top of your...
So we're, speaking of animal buddies, we're going to be seeing a lot of squawks for the rest of the run.
And that's it for Nam. I think he's messes up CLC. Very easy wrong warp to mess up. Very sensitive to tiny changes in movement.
I honestly started talking about the bird because I thought he was going to get it.
Yeah.
But all I wanted to say is for the squawk sections, pay close attention to that bottom left corner of the screen that shows whether or not they have the backup hit to take. The scariest moments of the squawk sections are when you do not have that hit that you can take, when a hit is just a death. Especially in the sprint, that's a really scary place to only have one Kong or one bird. I don't know what the terminology is.
I always say one Kong. It's proper donkey talk, but I don't know, maybe the kids are saying bird. Whatever the meme of the day is. Honey slide, what is this?
That one came out of nowhere. So we're gonna see some moonwalks from Void. That's just moving the camera basically away from the enemy and quickly reloading that location. For some reason, it unloads the enemy.
Yeah, it changes who's spawned on the screen, and I guess when that particular enemy unloads from the screen, he doesn't reload. Nam had a very good Toxic Tower as well, even after the what's it called? The CLC mistake.
Yeah, the biggest thing that could happen to Void still is he could take a hit and then go for his patented one Kong B-ring skip.
Do it! Do it for the fans, Void! No, he's not gonna.
But did Void get the jump? I wasn't even watching. He didn't, right?
We weren't watching for the jump?
I'm pretty sure he didn't get it, actually.
Okay, chat saying he didn't, but we should be forever shamed for not looking for that. That's like the thing that we should have been watching.
Bad commentary.
More important than fake eggs. Bad commentary. Get these guys off the mic, man. So yeah, that should put Void in as our winner. We'll see if Nam's able to be closer to him than I was.
Well, the player's on 42 pace. Oh, no, never mind. Void on 42 pace. Not very much not on 42 pace. And of course, keep in mind that
Nam
whoever...
goes for the jump, doesn't
Oh,
get it,
no.
but he goes for it.
Respect.
So, shout outs to him. He knows he's losing, so he's gonna go for the swag.
Or at the very least, highly suspects he's losing.
I would expect Blue Diddy from Nam at this point.
I would expect him to throw his girlfriend into K. Rool in the last hit also.
Oh yeah, he'll definitely do that. He's no gentleman. I should tell his wife
Not
that he
at all.
does this. Goes for the no turn back skip as well.
But yeah, what I was saying earlier is that keep in mind this is winner's bracket, so whoever loses this race is still in the tournament. You have to lose twice to be knocked out. So we'll be seeing more from both of these runners one way or the other.
Yeah, Nam is someone who could very easily end up in the grand finals. It basically is going to take, I think, somebody with a 40 to knock him out.
Is there a possibility that you and Nam can play each other?
Yeah, it is. If I win 2 more races, we will race each other, which would be my dream. I was hoping we'd both win the last round, but obviously V0oid decided to go ahead and get a 40-40 against me last week, so
Obviously.
that wasn't something I was really going to be competing with. I'm the one who unleashed him on this community. I have to be the one to take him out. That's how these sorts of stories always work.
Exactly. Yeah, and the race isn't actually over. There's one major thing that could still go wrong. We could see a purple Dixie scenario.
Even purple Dixie scenario, when you first start, ending up in that situation is really purple Dixie. That nobody knows how to do that. That's rough.
Never mind.
I was thinking purple or Dixie. There's enough things that can go wrong if you play this enough. You kind of know how to deal with it again. So, but purple Dixie, I don't know that anybody can do that.
To clarify for chat, people can't do purple Dixie. It's not impossible. But yeah, all V0oid really has to do is run to the left and throw at this point.
I think Spike's correcting me. I think we both have to go top 4. I might have misread the bracket, so it doesn't look like Nam and I will be playing against each other. Too bad. But we will be doing a co-op run in Omagus' Scrubathon next Saturday, so that's kind of a fun change of pace. V0oid wins, doesn't stop his timer because why bother?
Well, he got duns on the race channel at the time of 42:31.
Pretty good.
So GG's to him. Or as he would say, nice run.
Nice run, V0oid. He does say that. It's very nice of him.
He even said it in his own chat.
Well done. And there, Nam throws the girlfriend. He's just, man, he is taking this out on Dixie. Poor girl. Okay, Blue Diddy, Nam. Let's see it. All right, good. Good boy.
Blue Dixie also? Nope.
Well, let's not get greedy here.
Hey, I was on PB pace in the match where I got knocked out, and I still went for Blue Diddy. So I don't think Blue Dixie is too much to ask for.
Why did you do that?
Because I have to go out on my own terms.
All right. I respect that. If you're going to lose big.
Does know how to do Red Diddy, thankfully. Oh, no. Poor Dustpan. Go over these infinite team throw jumps.
Oh, no.
Throws him in. Alright, so Nam's got this wrapped up. Why don't we get V0oid in here for an interview?
All right, sure thing. I'll stay for a minute or two, but then I guess I'm racing next. So I can't stay for too long.
Did you do any warm-up?
I did not. I'm going into this cold.
Oh,
So we'll
goodness.
see.
Ooh, and Nam just barely misses the twig cut.
If only he hadn't blue diddied.
Yeah, right. Hello! welcome. Nice run.
What's
Thanks.
going on, Void?
Not much. What about you guys?
Not much. Just sitting here watching some streams. A normal
Watching
night.
somebody almost beat Void is what we were doing.
What has Nam been doing with his run?
If he had not also died in Crow 2, I think he would have beaten you.
He died in Crow 2 as well. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
In this the last phase, he took a hit with Dixie, and then so he was Dixie on the final phase, and then he lost the barrel, and he didn't realize Crow jumped back and forth, like went twice across the screen, and that's what cost him. So
Oh,
if he
dang.
would have not died there, he had a death in PCP as well, lost the headbutt, but other than those two things, I think it was very close.
Well,
You guys
he
were pretty
missed
much
DLC
tied
once
coming out
also.
of World 3 and 4. Yeah, that's when it sort of ended for good, but it was good, really good race. You guys were kind of back and forth for a while there.
Yeah, I didn't have the best start. Like obviously the death in Crockett. I should have bailed out of it as I saw like the Crockett going back into the swamp, but I didn't, and I got punished for it. But like besides that death and the death in Crow 2, like I'm pretty happy with my run and how I played.
Yeah. Did you have any specific strats, things that you did that you might not normally do while you were facing Nam? We noted that you took the halfway barrel and Gusty Glade, which I know you don't normally do.
That's about the only thing, because like I still had no idea what kind of pace Nam was on going into Gusty. I knew that like my World 4 was really, really good, and that probably like made some time on him, but like
You said
I
you're
don't
World
know,
4.
like just in case.
Nam
Yeah,
actually
you're-
golded World 4.
Yeah, Nam golded for World 4, but you still made up 8 seconds on him.
Oh dang, nice.
And speaking of, we have Nam here. Congrats on your run.
Hello.
Hey, nice race, dude.
Yep, GG's.
You almost did it, my friend. You almost
Um,
slew the dragon.
I did. Void, did you die at Creepy Crow?
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
By the sound of it, we had like the same dumb deaths on Crow 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I died.
All right, well, a respectable effort. I'm going to jump out here because I guess I have to play this now. So
Yeah.
good luck to you guys. I think we on the schedule, it said we were moving over to Speedruns Live, but I'll let you guys sort that out from here. So
Cool.
GG, everybody. See the rest of you.
Hey, good luck
On the
on your
other
race, Antilles.
Thank you, guys. Me versus KBZ. This is a pretty good race. He just recently pulled away from me on PB, but we should be close, and the loser is out.
You got this.
Yeah, we've confirmed from the V0oid that we are moving over to Speedruns Live. So before we do that, any final words from our runners?
Move on to Speedruns Live to watch the next race. It's gonna be hype.
Shout
Is
outs
that
to
a no,
Pandas.
Namux? No final words?
I'm just letting the video speak on behalf of me.
I see a panda.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
GG's, dude. Yeah. See y'all at Speedruns Live.
Yeah.
And with that, please go to Twitch TV/Speedruns Live.
See ya.
Thank you all for watching.